Alright guys, so lesson 1.3.1, for example 1, a local convenience store owner spent $10 on pencils to resell at a store. What is the equation of the store's revenue if each pencil sells for 50 cents? We want to graph that equation. So first off, we want to start with what we know. We know he spent 10 bucks and we know he's going to sell them for 50 cents each, right? So we want to create an equation. All right. So let's see here. You should remember this from middle school. Okay, slope-intercept form. This is for a linear equation. This was linear because we're selling them for 50 cents each, so we're going to be repeating that addition of 50 cents over and over again. Okay, and that's going to be our slope. Our M is going to be what you're selling the pencil, each pencil for. So M is going to be 0.50. Okay, and then X is the number of pencils. All right, and our B is going to be our initial value, like before you sell any pencils. So when X is still 0, that's going to be our B value. Well, how much had he originally spent before he sold any of the pencils? Well, he started off by spending $10. Okay, so that's going to be money he's in the hole. He owes $10 because he spent that and he hadn't gained it back from selling pencils yet. So B in this case is actually going to be -10. And then of course Y, that's how much money he makes. That's his revenue. Okay, so we plug in our pieces and it should look something like this. Y equals 0.50x minus 10. There's our linear equation for this particular problem. Now, we can clean this up a little bit, especially since we're graphing. A lot of times decimals are not real convenient to graph with. So you absolutely can rewrite this as 1/2 x minus 10. Okay? And depending on how many pencils he sells, right, depending on this number here, will affect the overall revenue over here. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to graph this. So go ahead and copy this down. Pause it if you need to. I'm going to flip to the next slide and graph it. Okay? All right, so I've already got my graph up here on the board. I intentionally did it this way. Let's start with our equation again. So our equation was Y equals 1/2 x minus 10. We want to graph that. So we're going to start by graphing the y-intercept. Okay? That's if x is equal to 0. So y-intercept is the point where x equals 0. So it's the point that is 0 comma something. Right? So if we plug in 0 here, 0 times 1/2 is 0, minus 10, we're going to get -10. That's a good place to start. Okay? So on our graph, that would be, I'm going to change colors here. Let's go with a nice red here. That's going to be right here. Okay, and then we want to use our slope to actually graph. So slope, you can do rise over run. Okay, so up 1, right 1. So the slope of 1/2, M equals 1/2, means you're going to do a rise of 1 over a run of 2. Okay, so up 1 over 2. And I'm intentionally showing this all the way until we get to this other intercept. Now, I want to talk about this other intercept. I'll go back to my other color here. Let's talk about the x-intercept. That's where y is going to be 0. Or you're going to have some number for x and then 0 for y. Now, the way you can figure that out is you could plug in y, plug in 0 here. So 0 equals 1/2 x minus 10. Then you'd add 10 to both sides. Those cancel. You get 10 equals 1/2 x. Then you multiply by the reciprocal, and you end up with 20 is equal to x, because the 1/2 and 2/1 cancel. Okay, so that tells me that that's our other intercept. If you know the two intercepts, then you can draw your line, and of course there's our line. Now, I'm going to go ahead and apologize here, because I'm drawing freehand here, but you want to use some sort of straight edge, and you want to connect those dots to get that linear equation. Okay, and so there's the graph. Now, so the question I want to ask y'all is, at what point or what values, what number of pencils would he need to sell in order to start making a profit? Okay, hopefully you're going to say he needs to sell more than 20 pencils in order to sell a profit, make a profit. Oh, I should have done this before. I'm going to go back and catch it now. Your y-axis is your revenue. You really want to do this before you start graphing everything. And then your x-axis is going to be the number of pencils sold. Okay, so he needs to sell at least 20 pencils to break even. That's the end of example 1. So hopefully that helps you.